Hey, what's up guys, BV here, and in this video we're gonna look at how to do the hang power snatch. We're gonna talk about how to do one, we're gonna talk about why you need to do it, and also how to cycle it. We're gonna jam pack this video with a ton of value for you so that you're gonna get the best tips in today's video, and it's going to improve your hang power snatch and also your snatch as well overall. So stay tuned. So guys, in this channel we talk about tips, tricks, tutorials to improve your fitness and also your wellness. So please consider subscribing. The button's in the corner over here. Go ahead, smack that like button and subscribe to us. Alright guys, now let's take a look at the hang power snatch. Now your hang power snatch is a very fun movement that starts from the hang position. You obviously have to deadlift the bar, and then you're gonna dip, jump, and then lock out like so, okay? So this is your hang power snatch movement. Now, how do you do it? Let's look at the technique for it and let's break it right down. So when you do a hang power snatch, there's a couple of ways you can do the hang power snatch. You deadlift the bar up to the top, okay, into your dead hang position, right? Side on here, it looks like this. And you can dip into a power position over here, and then you're gonna jump, catch, and that is where your first movement is over there. So if it's a lighter weight for you, then yes, you can do a small dip, which would be just up to your power position, and then you can launch the bar over the top of your head. If the bar is a little bit heavier, what you want to do is to dip forwards and then lean forwards just a little bit more and start engaging your hamstrings as well. The lower your dip is going to be, the more you hinge forward, the more you dip down, you're going to engage your glutes. The more you dip forward, you're going to start engaging your hamstrings as well. So you really want to think about how much muscle engagement you want for this movement. You don't need a lot if you don't need it at all, if it's a lighter bar. If it's a heavier bar, then obviously you will want to use a hell of a lot more. So if it's a lighter bar, all you're going to be doing is drive from here, hip, squeeze your glutes, shrug, and then catch and lock out. Yeah, that is the key. How much of a dip do you really need? Do you need to dip forward and lean forward, or do you need all of it at the same time? Ideally, you want to train for both so that you get the actual patterns when it comes to a really heavy barbell. Let's say a full snatch, for example, then you want to use everything. Okay, so still good to do at little drills with those each individual to try to build strength at those particular points in there. So this is your high hang power snatch, and then your mid hang power snatch. Okay, so a couple of things that you can do there. Now, the key for this is your hips. It's not your arms that do the work. Okay, oftentimes folks tend to do the wrong thing and they try to use your arms when the bar is too light. Again, you want to make sure that you have a heavy enough bar that your hands do not do the work. So if that bar is too light, you're gonna see this, or that's gonna happen, that's gonna happen. Instead, you want to use your hips to drive that bar over the top of your head. And the more hips that you drive over the top of your heads, the better your movement pattern is going to be to get that movement and that power driving through your head. So you must get a weight that's going to be challenging enough so your arms are not going to do too much work. For some of us, maybe about the 35, 45 mark, where you can still use a lot of hips, but not too much arms. When it starts to get a little bit heavier, you automatically want to use everything. Global kicks in, and your entire body just wants to do a lot of the work. Now, why do you need to do your hang power snatch? Now, the reason why you want to do it in your program, and you need to incorporate this into your program, is because you're going to build strength and power at that particular point, which is your high hang, your hang here at your power position, or your mid-thigh position. Now, if you start building strength in those two areas here, that is the point where you're going to drive the most amount of force into the bar from the snatch. Let's say you're coming from the floor, that's where you drive, and that's where the power position is. That's the sweet spot where you get the most power out of your lift. So if you build a very heavy hang in that position, you're almost guaranteed to get a little bit more out of your full snatch coming off the floor, because you've already gotten a little bit of momentum. Once you get to that point in there and you let it rip, you should have a stronger full snatch from building a hang power snatch. Gee, that's a lot of things for me to say, but you get the idea, okay? Make sure you have this in your program. Do it once or twice a week, depending on your goals. The next thing that we'd like to talk about is how do you cycle a hang power snatch? Now, obviously, if the bar is too heavy, you may not be able to properly do a cycle the hang power snatch. But if it's light enough and it's simple enough for you to control, then yes, you can cycle that barbell, and it should look a little bit like this. So you're in your hang position, you dip forward, you jump, you shrug, you catch it at the top, and then you bring that bar down. Once it gets to this point in here, lean forward, drive back into it, and catch. Of course, it looks like this from the side. Dip, jump, bam. Dip, jump, bam, okay? Now, cycling the hang power snatch is a really fun way to move a lot of reps really quickly. The key to it is the hip drive at the top, the pull, the catch and the lock, stand up to the top, and then bringing that back down again. Now, as you bring the bar back down, you may or may not have a hook grip, and if you do, you're gonna catch into that thumb and on your, just about chest height. Once you're here, you're gonna catch it, and as you get down to just about here, you should be already ready in the hook grip. Bar is still coming down, glutes are engaged, hamstrings are ready to go. The minute it touches your mid-thigh, that's when you know you need to extend out and explode again. You squeeze your glutes, you squeeze your hamstrings, you should be vertical, you shrug, pull the bar, and then the bar ends up at the top, and it should look seamlessly smooth, just like that, okay? That's how you cycle. Once you feel that barbell come all the way down and it's just about to touch, for me, it's about mid-thigh, just about here. I know I'm gonna be in a hang snatch position. I know my hamstrings are gonna be engaged. That's when I can squeeze hamstrings, posterior chain muscles, and launch the bar over the top of my head again for a few more reps at a time. Now remember, once the rep ranges go into 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, you're gonna start feeling a little bit of fatigue. You're just gonna start feeling your lactate threshold start to rise. You may need to rest. Your grip is gonna start coming into question here, whether or not you need to rest the grip, all right? So you need to figure out when you're going to stop your cycle. Some pros can cycle 10 to 15 reps at a time at a lightish weight, but you really need to figure out what really works for you, how many reps are there in that particular element of that exercise, and what's after it as well, okay? Can you go a full steam ahead and crank out as many reps as you can for that particular exercise, or do you need to cut back it and break it up into sets? That's really the strategy you need to look at when you're actually doing your hang power snatch movements, okay? So we won't go into that at this time. Plenty of content for another video, but now we're just gonna look at your hang, how to cycle that barbell. I'll show you on this bar over here. So that's where hang position, dip, couldn't really talk because the core is really engaged. So once I dip over, touch that mid-thigh, big jump, and then you can cycle your reps with the bar. All right, guys, I hope that was some great value for you. If you thought that you've gotten some cool tips out of this video, please do us a favor, smash that like button, punch the subscribe button. There'll be plenty of more tips like this coming out. Thanks very much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.